What's up, guys? This is Charles. I'm doing a featured deck. I've been playing EDH for almost 10 years now. Well before the idea of Commander and other things, and I wanted to go ahead and take a quick moment just to show off some of my collection. For years I've been collecting cards and playing EDH and picking up EDH staples well before they actually skyrocketed, and before people were really even playing Commander, right? So it helped out in that capacity. I want to go ahead and feature Maelstrom Wanderer. One of the things I want to point out is that I have 10 decks, and they're all, in my opinion, comparable play level, but I have different purposes for playing them. I figured I'd show off some of my other generals. I've got a mono blue foil deck, big stompy Eldrazi Multani deck, full white border foreign Oloro deck, all revised unlimited cards, Gisela to beat down, Grand Arbiter stacks, Infect Skithrix, Karavek of life loss, Rafik of double damage, and Damia, draw the cards, counter control. And they're all different styles. I don't play competitive EDH. That sounds crazy. I just play with metas that really want to see, intense deck play. But I do build varying styles decks because I've played for 10 years. I don't care about winning, and I'm going to play for another 10, 20 years. So I've got some common on. This is actually a 1 rare deck. This is, I think, a 10 rare deck. And like I said, this deck is straight up white borders and foreigns. I'm a foreign junkie. I know some people hate foreigns. I know some people hate foils. I know some people hate expensive cards. Be gentle with me when it comes to making comments. I do want constructive feedback. Any input you can give me is certainly welcome. I've played for such a long time that it does help to have input from others and their opinions. This particular deck is one of my favorite decks, which is why I'm featuring it. It happens to also be my most expensive deck in terms of total value. The irony is that it could get even that much more expensive. As we all know, Japanese foils go for a ridiculous amount of money. Not all my cards have that. I want to start off with looking at some really cool cards, though. Things that you just don't see every day in actual gameplay. Let's start off with the land base here. Guru Island and a Guru Forest. Those are the basics for the deck, nothing more than that. Let's go into Shocks, Steam Vents, Stomping Ground, Breeding Pool. Then we move over, and these lands, it helps to have lands that come in quick, right? I can run quite a few fetches, so I'm running all the fetches that I possibly can. And they're pretty sick looking, I'm not gonna lie. These are some of my favorites. With these Shocks, I regularly go get duels, first off. Or with the fetches, I regularly go get duels. I almost never see the Gurus because, to be honest with you, they're really just there for if somebody plays something that says, hey, go fetch for a basic land. I get wrecked by Blood Moon. I get wrecked by Back to Basics. These are cards that people go fetch up to stop this type of deck. Into the dual lands, I am a foreign junkie. You're going to see a lot of foreigns here. So if you don't know the cards, you're going to have to look them up. And I'm particularly like Japanese and German, so some German duels. Volcanic Island, Taiga, Cavern, City of Brass, Flooded Groves. Funny, as I was making this video, I realized to myself there's quite a few cards that I still need to pimp out, like this Reflecting Pool. Apparently there's a cool Judge promo. I also need to get the, you'll see some power in here later. So obviously I can go get a few cards that I haven't got yet, but I need to go get the remainder of the expeditions. Hinter Harbor Land, Gemstone Caverns, just to get it in, get some mana in quick. Grove, Sulphur Falls, Nykthos. All right, that's our land base. I just started, I've had this deck for well, since Maelstrom came out, so I don't know what the release of that was, maybe 4 or 5 years ago when it first foiled. This was a EpicEDH deck, and I just got tired. I'm not a combo player. I really like synergy, and I like having impact plays. So EpicEDH, I just got tired of the curiosity, mind over matter style play, and opening it up to green really helped give access to faster mana. And I'm a big stompy guy, right? My first deck was Mono Blue Control Arcanus. My second deck was Multani Big Stompies. So then we're gonna go with Mana Crypt, Mana Vault, Soul Ring, Chrome Mox, all sexy looking, Mox Diamond, and then I guess we're finally getting into the Japanese cards. You're gonna see a lot of Japs. The Grim Monolith, Scroll Rack, and Alhamret's Archive. Card draw and mana ramp. My favorite two things are fast mana, draw cards. And if I can keep repeating that process, then I'll overwhelm my opponents. Up here we've got our instance package. So as you saw, not that many rocks, just the few that I needed to get going. I got to get to 8. I'm looking to double cascade with this thing, and as you'll see with the cascades, it's kind of an onslaught of high impact plays. So Mana Drain, Force of Will, Rift, Red Elemental Blast. An underplayed card is Pyroclast and Red Elemental Blast. For 1 mana, it either counters it or it destroys a blue perm. People don't see it coming too if you tap the right way. Mystical, Brainstorm. I mean, these are really good cards specifically for Cascade, right? No, let's be very clear. These are really good cards in general. Card selection helps tremendously. Frantic Search is as another example. And ironically, a lot of people don't understand the power of a Frantic Search. Yes, it does kill a slot in the deck, but you'll see why it's good in a few seconds. I've got some mana doublers, so it does help. Treachery, this is a personal favorite of mine. I got this card when my second son was born. I've got 3 kiddos. And it's ridiculous. The perfect example, Treachery's a $25 card. And you know, a Japanese version might go for, I don't even know, 30, 40, maybe 50 bucks. I mean, these Japanese foils, I mean, the last time I looked, this thing was between, I think I saw it as much as 500 bucks. And I got this card for maybe 80 bucks. Even $80 is a ton of money for a card, let's be very clear. I don't like to spend $80 on a card, but that was a gift to myself considering my son was born. Heartbeat of Spring. So mana doublers are important in my deck because I'm trying to get to 8, but also because, as you'll see, I'm going to play some big creatures here in a few seconds. Fast mana for the exploration. Greater Good. Sacking out big creatures to draw more cards. More mana with the Carpet of Flowers. Defense of the Heart, because if they put out 3 creatures, it essentially just wins the game. Omniscience to get things out of the hand. Oath of Druids, another card that you don't see that played that often. It's an old vintage card. If any opponent has more creatures than you, you can cheat a creature right into play. So if your deck is optimized to be able to leverage that, then this essentially is a fast mana option. Dream Halls, which is broke. I'm gonna not use an expletive here, but I will just say Dream Halls is absolutely busted. Sneak Attack to get the big creatures out. More fast mana with a copy artifact. Food Chain. It is a broken card with Maelstrom. It usually just wins on the spot. I'm not a combo player, so I don't fetch that up. I don't get it. I just, if I have it in my hand, I'll play it, and that's really the way I play all my cards. Is just what's in my hand. They're all good cards, as you can see. And a Mana Flare. I think I showed the Heartbeat earlier. So part of the strategy of this deck is, as you can see, a lot of mana sources. You'll see a lot of draw sources in a few minutes. These double the land base. So if I have 4 lands out, I can go cast Maelstrom. And I don't mind letting people play things. I'm a pretty fun player, so I mean, it's a keep up kind of mentality for me. My deck is designed to be able to benefit from doubling mana. Your deck, well, you might think, oh wow, that's great. I'm getting double mana. The reality is that you won't blow through that mana nearly as effectively as I will. So I have people that regularly go kill a mana doubler. Is this not crazy that people stop a mana flare? But they have to, because they have to. Okay, into the I kind of want to go into creatures last. Those are the beater package. We've seen a lot of mana. Let's go into the sorceries. There are quite a few sorceries. Okay, I actually do have a beta twist. This is a proxy. Ironically, none of the other cards are proxies, even though they're really expensive cards. Just because people like to question whether or not I legit have. I've got 2 of them right up here. 1 signed, 1 unsigned. And actually, this might be a good time to feature some of the stuff that I've got in my room. Some Guru art signed by Therese Nielsen. I keep Planeswalkers here in my, this is my office, right? Full foil sheet. And I've got a Garuk there. I've got some more up here. And a few more Planeswalkers that I'm actually going to hang in the other part. But, you know, this is my chill zone. I do invite guys to hang out here at the house and play cards. So there's a Time Twister, Time Spiral. Get back in where you guys can see a little bit better here. Wheel of Fortune, more card draw. Okay, Shattering Spree, replicate that thing and get rid of the artifacts my opponents have. Expropriate, because when I have a ton of mana, absolutely I'm taking extra turns. Winds of Change, more discard. Now you say, why? Why so much card draw? Why so much? Because it's ramping and then dropping all of that fast mana that you saw earlier. So I want to keep filling people's hands and keep filling my hand. I don't mind. Like I said, I have fun. I don't like the oppression of stacks in a way where people can't play. What I'd rather play is an alternate archetype, which is play whatever the fuck you can play. Just see if you can beat me, because I'm going to give you all the resources you possibly need with extra card draws and double mana and other things. So Mizzix, this is a really good card. For 4 mana, it goes and gets like an Expropriate or anything in my yard. I can overload it as well. Extra turns also help tremendously with the mana doublers. I've got several extra turns in here. Bribery, Temporal Manipulation, Sylvanas Stampede, highly underplayed card. That card, Sylvanas Stampede, I think it's a few bucks. And as soon as I saw this card spoiled, I said, this thing is a mini Omniscience. It's 6 mana. And every time I play it, it's definitely going to be a high impact play. So take a look at that if you're playing green. Gamble, Windfall, Personal Tutor. These things help manipulate the top deck. Show and Tell to cheat things in. And again, I'm all about people, like, put your stuff in too. Let's play a game here. I'm ready to go. So Show and Tell helps the opponents. Now, Eureka is a card you don't see every day. In fact, every time I play Eureka, if I'm not playing with somebody that's seen this card, they think that it's fucking fake. They think there's no chance this card exists. It allows each player to put any number of permanents from their hands into play. And I'm going to shortcut and say, go look at the Oracle, because there's some order of operations that happen in terms of play order and things like that. And it's pretty busted with ETBs and layering the stack. But any number of permanents from your hand into play. For everybody, not just me. So, like I said, get double mana. Why do you need double mana if I let you just put every permanent in your play? Vandal Blast, because I'm going to let you put every permanent in play, and then with that extra mana that I've got, say, wow, that was stupid of you. You decided to go ahead and put things into play that I can now remove. Recurring Insight, draws cards, Temporal Mastery, extra turns. This card's brand new. I had a Jokalops in here. I mean, a lot of people play Maelstrom in a way where they're looking to wreck their opponent's mana base. I'm doing the exact opposite. I'm not looking to like shatter my lands and yours. I'm looking to say, look, let's just get stuff going. But this card's really interesting. It bounces all non-land permanents. Kind of feels like a mini Rift. And I like that. And then I get to put if I bounce 4, I get to put any permanent play. So I might put an Omniscience, something like that. A Time Warp, Capture, Tooth, and Nail. All right. Lots of cheating to play, as you saw there. All right. Before we get to the creatures, 2 last Planeswalkers, Narset, and Jace. The Jace, actually, I have I almost never play this card, but it's actually there for another Brainstorm effect to manipulate the top deck of my library. This card's broken. Broke. I don't particularly believe in banning cards, but I understand the importance of it for regulation, and control, but I mean, it's really ridiculous. I mean, these are not cheap. As you saw, the big draw is not cheap. Time twisters, time spirals. You can get a windfall for a reasonable price, but to create that consistency, having multiple in the deck matters. But if you've got multiple draws and you throw out a Narset, it's GG, right? Okay, now into big creatures. Yeah, that's not going to be fun to hit the board for you, and none of this stuff will be fun. I like creatures. I like attacking people with creatures. I like to overwhelm people and have them groan when they see something hit the table. And I respect when somebody doesn't groan and they're like, all right, I see what I'm staring down, and they're staring down like monsters, and they say, let's go. So, and I'm all about that. Let's go toe to toe. I'm ready to do it. One of the things that I'll point out with Maelstrom that is also important is the fact that it's not just that you get double cascade, right? As you saw with any of these spells, you know, getting a 7/5 beater with haste is good. Getting 2 free spells of those caliber is also really good. But giving haste to all my creatures means that it might catch you by surprise. I mean, this is 10 mana. If I can go ahead and get this out at 8 and then throw out the Eureka or throw out a Show and Tell or whatever it is, then being able to get this general out and cheating it right into play, not this general, getting the Kozilek out and then giving it haste, means you're about to annihilate 4 out of nowhere. And if I hit an extra turn as well, then it's annihilate 8. So there's some oppressive I'm hitting you. So I got Eldrazi Twins in the deck. I mean, I hard cast those regularly with the. I actually don't need to cheat into play if I don't need to cheat into play, but I'll take an Oath of Druids and play it on turn 1. Let somebody else drop down a Bird of Paradise, and turn 2 flip up an Ulamog and say, all right, you're in trouble. Get rid of this indestructible right now. You better have a Path of Swords. Vorinclex for more mana and the fact that it slows down my opponents. This guy has a pseudo time walk effect built into him because you get, it's actually a 4-to-1 swing, right? I'm getting double and you're getting half. By doing that, it's a lot more mana. Gilded Drake to take people's generals. I bounce this. Sphinx, because any of that card draw becomes almost just good game, instant I win with 60 cards in my hand. I'm gonna just play some rocks. I would say play a Eureka, but I almost never play that card. Not because I don't want to play it, it just doesn't seem to come up, or when I have 60 cards in my hands, I do other things. Jenga Toxis, Blightsteel, I mean, these are all just, you don't want to see these facing you down. In fact, I respect some of the players that I play with. I don't play this deck all the time, right, because I got 10 decks, but when this one comes out, they're staring down some bad threats. Phyrexian Metamorph, another card that you don't see is Zami Tomorrow's Familiar. You just don't see this card at all. Probably because it's 6 mana. It's effectively 3 with the mana doublers. It says whenever you would draw a card, instead look at the top 3 cards of your library, choose 1, put the other 2 to the bottom. That ability to essentially have that kind of card selection on a single wheel, you're looking at the top 21 cards, you're keeping your 7 favorite that you need in the moment. My opponents are only getting 7 cards off that wheel. It's really, really good. Kind of like a Consecrated Sphinx, but people don't play it. Palinchron, this goes infinite really quickly with mana doublers. I like the untap lands also. It just helps because sometimes I want to cascade into a Palinchron just to untap the lands. By untapping those lands, I then can do other things. Mind you, I'll have the haste from whatever I'm trying to do. Lawan Cephalid Impress. You know, I've got a handful of cards that I play in all my decks. Most of them are like Soul Rings and Mana Crypts, things like that. Occasionally, in like my green decks, I do play the Savala and Stampede. I'm going to play a Twist because I got them. So I'll play those in the blue decks. I like this card a lot. I don't see it played that often. Actually, I don't even know that I've ever seen anybody play this. But as soon as I see this, it's grip it and throw that thing into play. Lawan says, when it enters, bounce all of my opponent's blue creatures. And then my opponents can't play any blue creatures. So your blue general is now fully locked out. I've been playing so long that I remember when the Tuck rule existed, and you know, people didn't build decks that were dependent on their general and thinking, oh, I'm going to be able to have access to my general, because essentially you didn't always have access to your general. People chaos warped your general, and it was like, get that shit in your library and go figure it out. And if you're playing a deck like white, you're in trouble. I mean, you're in trouble anyways, but Lawan's a good card depending on your meta. It is conditional. I have it in other decks, and you know, I was playing against somebody that had a Kiki the other day, and it's like just a dead card. Venser, Shaper Savant, Tidon, Hellkite Tyrant. With haste, this thing's busted. 6/5 Trampler steals all artifacts that my opponents have. Nezzel Hall, whenever they cast a non-creature spell, I draw a card. I can exile 3 to protect it. It's a new addition. I had a Tidespout Tyrant in the deck. Tidespout's really good because I cast a lot of spells. I wanted the 7 because I wanted to cascade into this, and I can't cascade into the Tidespout. And then Great Whale and Peregrine Drake also untaps. These untaps go a really far away when you're cheating in mana doublers. You throw in a Vorinclex, and then you throw in a Peregrine Drake. You untap the 5 lands. You've now got 10 mana. With 10 mana and the cards that you still have in your hand, you can just cycle the deck. So I think we've hit just about everything. Actually, we did hit it all. Yeah, we got our sorceries, instants, enchantments. I hope this was interesting for you. You know, try not to hate too bad. Obviously, there's some high dollar cards in here. But to be honest, a lot of Magic is absolutely about the ability for you to understand how to tightly construct a deck, leveraging your budget most effectively. This Damia deck has 1 rare in it. It's like less than $100. And I'll go sit down and play people, and look, this is a white border, foreign, revised, and unlimited deck. And I play these decks, and they're not necessarily expensive. I mean, no, this one's not expensive at all, right? Because it's a bunch of basic lands and counter spells and creatures and stuff like that. So Magic is not about how much money you have. Absolutely, it accelerates the game by having more powerful cards and access to more money. But the reality is that you can build tightly tuned decks when you're willing to realize that having the biggest splash 7 or 8 drop doesn't necessarily make sense unless you can get to it, right? And so that's where you have to figure out the balance of what's the splash effect that I'm trying to do, how am I going to do that? So I hope for those of you that have been playing for a long time, you just appreciate Maelstrom Wanderer. You might hate it. I hope you appreciate this particular deck. I am maybe considering doing some other videos and showing off those other generals. I will show this here. Please, in the comments, if there's other, and these are all really equally pimped out decks. In fact, that's part of the reason why you see like a Tooth and Nail that's not Japanese or foil, is because, I mean, I'm spending money on these decks too, right? And by doing so, I have to manage my budget the way that everybody else does. So let me know if you want to see these other videos. I hope that you liked what you saw today. Thanks for watching, and good luck. May the cards be with you.